Joining us again here on GBGuns in the Wonderfully Different mini-series. In this series, I'm taking a look at pistols, rifles, who knows, that I find to be wonderfully different from the norm. Not all good, not all bad, but at least they're not just another insert blank here. All these guns have full reviews already, both on the channel and written reviews, either on ammoland.com, loadoutroom.com, Tactical Life, Ballistic Magazine, or Personal Defense World. Today we're looking at something with a muddy past, the Remington R51. Coming up next on GBGuns. So the R51 has definitely a muddy past, muddy history. It was a cool gun long ago. Remington tried to bring it back. There were all kinds of terrible problems. They were all recalled, then released again, and it never really recovered from that reputation. This is one of the later version 2s that I haven't had too many issues with, but cool gun, very, very different. You notice the barrel is straight here. That's because it's not a Browning action. This is actually a form of delayed blowback. I want to say it's called the Peterson system. Those marks on the barrel are so that you can have traction on the barrel when field stripping this. I'm not going to attempt to field strip it out here. It is a bear, and once you get it, then getting it back together, not super easy without practice. I've heard from owners that shoot theirs and work on those regularly and they don't have the same issues. That's great for them. I have too many other guns to mess with this too much. If you want to see how that's done according to Remington, go ahead and watch the tabletop video on it. So what is this meant to be? Well, decades ago, this is very futuristic. I think it still kind of has some ray gun look and feel to it. It has a grip safety for good reason, because watch this trigger. Once again, will show clear. Comes to a wall, breaks. The reset, right there. Really short. So it could be something you could shoot fast. I don't shoot this thing too quickly because it's a little small for my hand, and I run the risk of getting cut if the meat of my hand gets a little too high, shifting under recoil and whatnot. But it's an interesting design, very cool style, definitely a different kind of recoil impulse. Wanted to bring it out to remind folks that's out there, you can get these things for a steal these days, mostly because they haven't sold. And so I've seen them as low as $250, sometimes under. They're kind of cool. Replaceable grip panels. Remington had some walnut panels that I thought were rather handsome. Couldn't get my hands on them when they were available. Now they're gone. You've got your ledge for racking, 3-dot sight system. Very short system setup here. Barrel's not long at all. That sleeve there is actually part of the locking system. And yes, it is rated for plus P. Let's take a look at how it shoots. So for basic shootability, I've got some Winchester Active Duty M1152. This is their load they developed as a training load for the Army with the new modular handgun system. This guy is not so pleasant for me to shoot. For some reason, it stings my hand, gives me a red knuckle. It's not the slide. There's some type of sting. I'm not sure what it is. But anyways, got an ABC zone reduced size steel target out there at about 20 yards. 20 yards because, well, it's safer than shooting steel closer, and it also gives me a bit of a challenge. I'm going to try some ready ups on the steel, see if I can maybe get off some controlled pairs or hammers on it. More on that is in another video, and see how it does. One, to get used to the grip angle, because I shoot a lot of firearms, and so my wrist isn't trained to this specific gun yet. Sounded like a hit and a miss there. maybe 2 hits. Hit and a miss. And I mean, any short little single stack is going to be snappy. This does have some snap. The texturing on the front strap does help quite a bit with keeping it from jumping too hard in your hand. But once again, with the pink hand, something stings. I don't know if it's the violence of the action or what it is, but not the most pleasant thing to shoot. Wonder if it's accurate. I'm gonna load up some Nosler match and we'll get a target at 7 yards and see how this thing groups. I use the Nosler match because it's the most consistent I've tested, and when we do accuracy testing, it's supposed to be testing the gun, not the ammo, right? So the only way to be fair to the gun is to use good ammo. That's why I use the Nosler. It does tend to be a little punchy, so I'm sure it's gonna make this even less comfortable for me to shoot. But we have our circle out there at 7 yards. We'll see what kind of grouping we get out of it. I'll zoom you in to take a look. And you can follow along while I grunt through this. Definitely punchy. Interesting placement there. Now, traditionally, I would say that it being low comes from mashing the trigger, but you saw how well this trigger breaks, and I'm pretty slow on it. My hand, by the way, is quite red now. That stung. But it did group. Sights could be maybe a little bit off, maybe I'm a little bit off. So it shot fairly well, especially for how short the barrel is. Really unique system here. Wonderfully different, I would say. Is it a gun that I would carry? No. Is it a gun that I would recommend for carry? Tough on that. Is it a gun I'd recommend owning? Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's unique. If you're like me and you're into different operating systems and you appreciate this Peterson delayed blowback interesting system, it's a cool gun to have. It is all metal. It is made in the US, so it's got a lot of different attributes to it that you don't find anywhere else, possibly for good reason, but I still think it's a cool gun. Thanks for joining us on this mini series of wonderfully different guns. If you want more info on the R51, go ahead and check out our tabletop video, shooting impressions video, or any of the articles written on it. Thanks for watching.